Howdy, everyone. My name is Chris Dudley. I play in a band called Underoath. I do electronics and keyboards and all kinds of fun stuff. And here to talk about the Uno drum and Uno synth. I got in contact with IK Multimedia. I was like, hey, I'm going to be there, and I use these things. And they're like, hey, can you talk for a second about them and play something? And I was like, hell yeah, because they're awesome. I came across the Uno synth because I was on the bus one night. We were on tour, and our guitar tech had the Uno synth, and I honestly never heard of it. And he was just sitting on the bench in the bus, and he had the headphones in, and he was just jamming on this little thing. And I was looking at the form factor, not realizing it's like an all analog synth, and I was like, wait, what is that? And I put the headphones on, and I was like, yo, no way. And I sat there for a solid 2.5 hours after that. I stole it and the headphones, and I was like, hold on, I got to mess around with this. So from that point, I was like, I have to get one of those. I didn't realize, that it could run on batteries, which for a traveling musician is huge. One thing for me is a lot of what I do from the road. I have a mobile studio set up that I bring everywhere, and anything that's portable that is top tier sounding is huge for me. And I have this dumb thing that I do with the Uno synth and the Uno drum, where I put Velcro on the back of them because they're both really light. And in my bunk on the bus, I'm laying down and I have them like this. So when I lay down at night, I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna do a little thing, and I must look like the biggest idiot doing that. But it's honestly inspired a lot of really cool ideas. And when I brought the drum and the synth off the road, I was trying to figure out how it was going to fit into my studio at home. And what I've found that I'm doing is you can sync everything with the computer. You can run it all from the computer external. Everything can sync and clock. But for some reason, I really like using both of these just as a standalone piece of hardware. I basically use this as a standalone drum machine, a standalone synth. So when they're in my studio, I have them both stationary, just audio out. I use it just as an old school drum machine or an old school synth, run to MIDI controllers, and so at a push of a button, I can be using them at any point. So it's a staple in my studio, and I bring them with me everywhere on tour, which seems to be most of my time is spent on the road. So I don't really know what else to say other than that they're awesome, and you'd never think that you could get out of them what you're able to. Because a big thing with me when I get a new piece of hardware in general, or a piece of software, is I want to just push it and say, how gnarly can I get this to sound? How gross can I get it to sound? I want to just see how extreme it can get. And with this, especially considering the form factor, the price, and the ease of use, it can sound really, really gross, which that's my steez. So I'm gonna kind of just improv a little thing. I'm not a shredder. There's a lot of people that come to these things and just shred and show off their years of shredding practice. But I'm honestly more so just kind of wanting to show these things off because I think they sound really cool. So let's see what this does here. All right. That's all I have. But yeah. Um, like I said, the one of the big things that really impressed me about both of these units is honestly the analog, the ability to have an analog signal path in something so. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen these things. You know how small and light they are, but being able to have a full analog signal path with something so small and battery powered for me was like a no-brainer. It's just, yeah, I love them. I'm using them all the time. And I think that they can sound really gross. And that I'm not sure if you guys realize, but that's just these by themselves, audio out, not running through any other effects or anything. I mean, that's obviously a whole other world when I get these into my studio, running them through pedals and all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say about these things except for they're awesome. I don't know, do you guys have questions about anything? I don't know how these things work normally. I just see guys shredding on guitars and people watching, and I'm not really that guy, so yeah. Oh, what's up, dude? Yes, well, I've got like friends all over the place. That's crazy. Yeah, so anybody have any questions or comments or, yeah. Yes. He asked if I'm using this with any of the Underoath music. I have been. I've been messing around with ideas for new Underoath material for quite a few months, and I've got a Dropbox with probably like 15 ideas, and off the top of my head, I think probably 8 of them have something to do with these. You know, whenever it is that we do go into the studio, I'm going to be bringing both of these with me, like a no-brainer. And I also, the last film I scored, I used the Uno synth through. I was using a what is it, the Valhalla reverb. I used that to just make this like insane drone thing that just got stretched over like 5 minutes, and it's like one of my favorite sounding things I've done in a while, and it was literally just a gross thing on the Uno synth run through a reverb, and it was like perfect. So yeah, I found specifically because I am bringing them on tour and they're just always in my bunk or on my mobile rig, and because they're set up for good in my studio. These are actually my personal ones. I brought them with me, but they're set up for good in my studio. I'm just using them all the time because it's easy and they're always there. So that's a big thing for me is if I have an idea, I want to be able to get it down quick, whether it's an app on my phone or you know, having stuff ready in my studio or having these things just laying on my pillow when I'm on tour. It's convenient. So, yeah. But yeah, if you guys don't have any questions or anything, thanks for coming and watching me do this. And yeah, if you want to come up and say hey or have questions or want to mess around with these, I can keep them set up, I guess. So, yeah. So, thanks. Yep.